Number 1, the factory of hatred. Listen carefully. Hatred is not born, it's built. It's assembled piece by piece in the quiet corners of weak minds and noisy societies. Most people think hate is an emotion. It isn't. It's a tool, a weapon, a currency of control. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology had a name for it. He knew that if you can direct what people fear and what they despise, you can rule them without ever lifting a sword. You felt hatred before? Maybe towards someone who betrayed you, maybe towards a system that humiliated you, maybe towards yourself. But here's the first brutal truth. Your hatred was engineered by stories, by comparisons, by carefully fed humiliation. The world taught you who to hate, then sold you the feeling as authentic. It never was. Hatred is manufactured when your sense of power is threatened and you don't know how to respond. They hurt your pride, they ignored your worth, they tried to make you invisible, so your mind went to war in the only way it knew, by building an enemy. That's the formula. Wound the ego, isolate the mind, offer a target, repeat. Rulers do it on a mass scale. Insecure people do it in relationships. Cowards do it behind screens. Understand this. The person who can steer hatred controls the direction of conflict, and the one who understands hatred but does not get consumed by it becomes untouchable. That's where you are heading. You're not here to become a victim of your own anger. You're here to dissect it like a surgeon, to see it, name it, own it, and then weaponize the clarity, not the chaos. Machiavelli would tell you, it is safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he would also warn you that unfocused hatred is the fastest way to lose control. So your first lesson is this. Never let anyone manufacture hatred inside you without your permission. From this moment on, you study every surge of anger like evidence at a crime scene. Who benefits if you lose control? Who gains if you explode? Who profits when you hate blindly? Answer that, and you'll see the hands that built your rage. Number 2, the blueprint of control. Let me show you the blueprint. Hatred is rarely random. It's guided, it's nudged, it's framed. Imagine a ruler, a boss, a manipulator standing behind the curtain. They don't need to fight you themselves. They just need you to fight who they point at. Machiavelli's hidden formula is simple. If you want to control people, don't just scare them. Give them an enemy to blame. When people are lost, they crave a villain. When they feel small, they crave someone beneath them. When they feel powerless, they crave revenge. So the architect of power feeds them stories. Stories about them versus us. Stories that poke at insecurity. Stories that stir envy, resentment, outrage. And the crowd obeys, thinking their hatred is righteous and original. It's not, it's planted. That's the dark psychology of crowds. Once emotion takes over, logic leaves the room. People stop asking, why am I angry? And instead ask, who do I crush? Now bring this down to your level. In your life, anyone who wants power over you will play a similar game. A partner who wants to control you will make you doubt everyone else. A boss who fears your potential might turn others against you. A so-called friend who envies you will poison your name behind your back. They won't attack you head-on. They'll manufacture hatred around you. They'll isolate you, then own the narrative. You must become the one person who doesn't swallow this. You must become the observer in the chaos, not the toy being moved across the board. When you feel hatred rising, pause. Ask yourself, who benefits if I direct this at them? Who disappears from the spotlight if I rage at this target? Who becomes innocent while I lose control? The moment you ask these questions, you step out of the spell. That's the first sign of real power. You no longer react like a puppet. Cold masculinity is not about shouting, flexing, or breaking things. It's about standing in the storm, seeing the strings above everyone's heads, and refusing to let anyone pull yours. Remember this, hatred is always trying to recruit you. Your job is to decide whether you join the army or command the battlefield from above. Number 3, you've seen how hatred is guided. Now let's talk about the most dangerous version of it, the hatred you turn on yourself. That quiet, corrosive contempt for your own failures, your own reflection, your own history. Society loves a broken man, because a broken man is easy to steer. He will beg for validation. He will chase distractions. He will drown himself in noise, in addictions, in pointless conflict, anything to avoid facing his own weakness. Machiavelli knew that a ruler stays strong by never letting his private doubts spill into public weakness. You need the same principle for your inner kingdom. The world has trained you to hate parts of yourself, your mistakes, your softness, your losses. They feed you unrealistic standards, then mock you when you fall short. That's also manufactured. They want you at war with your own mind, because a man fighting himself can't fight the system that profits from his confusion. So here's the shift. You do not eliminate self-hatred by hugging it. You convert it, you refine it, you turn it from blind loathing into cold assessment. Instead of, I'm worthless, you say, I'm untrained. Instead of, I'm a failure, you say, I'm unfinished. That's a Machiavellian reframing. You strip the emotion and keep the information. Your flaws are not curses, they're coordinates. They tell you where to push, where to harden, where to evolve. Stoic masculinity means this. You acknowledge exactly where you are weak without collapsing into shame or drama. You look at your life like a strategist studies a battlefield map. No tears, no excuses, just terrain. You use your past humiliation as fuel, not a prison. Every insult, every dismissal, every time you were underestimated, catalog it, remember it, but don't drown in it. Store it like gunpowder behind a locked door. You'll need it later when discipline feels pointless and comfort calls you back. The world wants you emotional, impulsive, and offended. Easy to provoke, easy to manipulate. You're going to become the opposite, calm, calculating, and difficult to move. That starts with this vow. From now on, no one gets to weaponize your self-hatred against you. Not family, not friends, not enemies, not society, not even the voice in your head. You will listen to that voice, dissect it, strip it of poison, and extract only one thing from it, the next step. Number 4, now we deal with the hatred aimed at you, because if you rise, it's coming. The moment you stop playing small, you become a threat. And threats are not tolerated, they're targeted. People will project their failures onto you, their insecurity, their envy, and they'll call it judgment, morality, concern. It's not, it's fear wrapped in opinion. Machiavelli understood this. A prince who changes the order of things will always be hated by those who benefited from the old order. When you upgrade your standards, you automatically expose everyone who chose to stay weak. They will resent you for proving they had a choice. That resentment has 2 goals, to drag you down or to erase you. Dark psychology rule. Those who can't compete with you will try to morally condemn you. You work more, they call you obsessed. You set boundaries, they call you selfish. You speak your mind, they call you arrogant. Good, let them talk. You're not here to be understood by fragile people. You're here to become a reference point, the man they whisper about, the man they can't move. Stoic masculinity means this. You let them keep their stories while you keep your trajectory. You never chase rumors. You never defend your name in every room. You understand a brutal Machiavellian principle. Perception is a weapon, but you don't always need to swing it yourself. Let your results do most of the talking, and let their hatred expose them. Watch how it works. As you become more disciplined, their laziness feels louder. As you become calmer, their chaos feels uglier. As you become sharper, their excuses feel thinner. Of course, they'll hate you. You are living proof that their can't was always won't. Do not personalize it. Their hatred is not really about you. It's about what you represent. Effort, accountability, evolution. Your job is to remain emotionally armored. No pleading, no long explanations, no desperate need to be liked. You take feedback only from those above you in wisdom, discipline, or results. From the rest, you take data. You study who hates you, why they do, and what it reveals about your impact. Machiavelli would tell you, if you cannot avoid being hated, at least make sure you are hated for being strong, not for being sloppy, so let them hate. While they gossip, you build. While they complain, you adapt. While they plot, you prepare. In time, their hatred becomes background noise. And you keep moving like a man who can't be stopped. Number 5. Power is not in the feeling. Power is in the frame. Weak men think their emotions are the truth. Strong men know their emotions are raw material. Hatred is just one of those materials, explosive, volatile, dangerous, but incredibly useful if you understand how to contain it. Think like a Machiavellian engineer. You don't worship the fire, you build the furnace. You don't drown in passion, you harness pressure. Dark psychology teaches something ruthless. Most people are slaves to their triggers. A word, a look, a rejection, and they're gone. They lash out, they sulk, they spiral. Their enemies barely need to try. One push and they self-destruct. That will not be you. You are going to become emotionally expensive. Hard to provoke, hard to read, hard to move. When hatred rises in you, you will not deny it like a saint, and you will not unleash it like an animal. You will do something rarer. You will observe it like a scientist. What exactly set you off? What weakness did it expose? What expectation did reality refuse to meet? Most men never ask these questions. They just burn. You, on the other hand, will take that feeling and separate it into 3 parts. The wound, the belief, the opportunity. The wound is where you felt disrespected, overlooked, or threatened. The belief is the story you told yourself about what that means. I'm not enough. They're all against me. I'll never win. And the opportunity is hidden underneath both. The chance to strengthen your boundaries, sharpen your skills, or adjust your strategy. This is cold power psychology. You strip every emotional event down to information and leverage. Does that mean you become numb? No, it means you become selective. You don't waste hatred on every slight. You don't go to war over every insult. You conserve your energy like a king protects his army. You respond when it matters, where it matters, and only in ways that move you closer to your long game. Understand this clearly. The man who cannot control his hatred is always controlled by someone else. But the man who can feel it fully, analyze it clearly, and act on it strategically, that man becomes untouchable. He doesn't chase petty victories. He doesn't need to win every argument. He is playing a longer, colder game. And one day, the people who tried to trigger him will look up and realize, while they were busy trying to offend him, he quietly outgrew their entire world. Number 6, they taught you that hatred is always bad, always wrong, always something to avoid, and that's how they made you weak. The truth is more uncomfortable. Hatred is energy, and energy can be redirected. A wise ruler doesn't try to erase it from his kingdom. He channels it. Machiavelli understood that men need an outlet, a story, a place to dump their frustration. If you don't give them one, they'll eventually turn it on you. The same is true in your life. When you start rising, people will look for reasons to dislike you. Fine, let them. But here's the twist. Instead of begging to be liked, you design who they become when they hate you. You stand for discipline, boundaries, self-respect, ambition. If they hate you for that, what does it say about them? You start to realize something powerful. Being hated by the right people is a form of validation. Dark psychology teaches that people often attack what reminds them of their own failures. When they see you waking up earlier, working harder, staying calmer, they are not seeing you. They are seeing what they could be, but chose not to. That's why their hatred feels so emotional, so irrational. It's not a logical reaction, it's a defense mechanism. So what do? You stay consistent. You don't argue with their feelings. You don't try to negotiate their respect. You become a mirror they can't escape. Their hostility becomes proof you're no longer one of them. A man playing at your level has no time to run public relations for insecure minds. He lets silence do the talking and success do the explaining. Machiavelli would advise a prince to appear relatable, but remain distant, to let people see enough to admire or despise, but never enough to fully understand. You can do the same. Share just enough of your grind for others to feel it, but never enough for them to predict your next move. Let them speculate. Let them invent stories. While they gossip about your motives, you solidify your position. Hatred directed at you becomes free advertisement. free attention, free noise around your name. As long as you don't emotionally collapse under it, it can't destroy you. It just amplifies the signal. You are no longer average, and average people are uncomfortable with that. Number 7, at some point you have to decide, do you want to be loved or untouchable? Because the path splits there. Love is fragile. It depends on moods, trends, convenience. Hatred, on the other hand, is predictable. You always know where it stands. A Machiavellian mind uses that. You don't chase universal approval. That's a child's fantasy. You choose your position in the hierarchy and accept that it comes with enemies by default. Listen carefully. Power isn't about having no enemies. It's about deciding which enemies you're willing to have. A weak man wants everyone to like him, so he bends, apologizes, over-explains, and slowly erases himself. A strong man sets a direction and lets the right people fall away. Some will hate your standards, your focus, your refusal to be manipulated. Good. Let them. Their hatred draws a clear line between your world and theirs. That line is your protection. Dark psychology says people reveal more through who they hate than who they love. If they hate discipline, they're chaotic. If they hate boundaries, they're controlling. If they hate honesty, they're hiding. So when hatred comes your way, you don't whine, "Why me?" You analyze, what does their reaction expose? Their hostility becomes data, a walking dossier. You start to see patterns: who gossips, who sabotages, who stays silent but watches, who shifts the moment you step out of the room. That's your map of the terrain. And a man with a map is hard to ambush. Stoic masculinity means you don't flinch at this. You don't try to fix everyone's perception. You adopt a new rule. If someone can be turned against you easily, they were never on your side. Cut the rope. Quietly, cleanly, no drama. Machiavelli would approve. He believed in pruning threats before they grow. Not with rage, but with calculation. You do the same socially. You remove access, not with loud announcements, but with absence. Less contact, less information, less emotional availability. You become hard to reach, hard to read, hard to use. Soon the people who carry secret hatred for you will find they have no real access to hurt you. They can talk, but they can't touch. They can plot, but they can't penetrate. And that's the beginning of becoming untouchable. Not by eliminating hatred from the world, but by redesigning your position so that hatred can't reach anything vital. Number 8, here's a darker truth you need to swallow. You cannot rise without becoming the villain in someone's story. The more you sharpen, the more you say no, the more you choose your own path, the easier it becomes for others to paint you as cruel, arrogant, selfish. That's not an accident. That's a primitive form of psychological warfare. When people can't control you, they try to control your image. They manufacture hatred around your name so they don't have to confront their own lack of power. A Machiavellian mind doesn't panic when this happens. It studies the process. Notice how it works. First, they misunderstand you on purpose. Then they misquote you. Then they spread those distortions to weak minds who are hungry for drama. They build a simplified version of you, colder, harsher, more monstrous. And then they react to that version like it's real. That's how they justify their envy. That's how they soothe their inferiority. Dark Psychology 101. Demonize what you fear so you can feel morally superior to it. You are not here to beg them to see the real you. You are here to become so focused on your mission that their version of you becomes irrelevant. Let them create their little villain. That story lives in their head, not in your reality. Stoic masculinity means you don't chase down every misunderstanding with explanations. You correct what matters once, clearly, and then you move on. Your time is too expensive to be spent cleaning up every emotional mess others make in their imagination. Instead of resisting all hatred, you use it as a filter. If someone is willing to believe the worst about you without ever asking you directly, that's not your loss. That's your protection. They've disqualified themselves from proximity. The more you evolve, the more you will see this pattern. Your growth threatens unstable people, and their response is to twist you into something their ego can handle. Let them. A king does not knock on doors asking peasants to like him. He rules his domain, strengthens his walls, refines his counsel, and lets opinion swirl outside the gates. That's your model. You don't fight every rumor, you fortify your life. You don't try to control every narrative. You control your behavior, your results, your access. In the end, those who matter will see the truth, and those who refuse it were never meant to sit at your table. Number 9, the architecture of being untouchable. Untouchable is not a mood. It's an architecture. It's how you design your inner world and your outer life so that hatred can shout, but it can't enter. Machiavelli would tell you that a wise ruler doesn't just rely on courage. He relies on structure. Fortified walls, loyal guards, controlled gates. You need the same, but psychologically. Your mind is the fortress. Your standards are the walls. Your boundaries are the gates. Most men leave everything open. Anyone can walk in, dump their opinions, project their insecurities and leave. Then they wonder why they feel unstable. You won't live like that anymore. You will begin with your inputs. What you watch, what you listen to, who you let speak into your life. Weak, bitter people manufacture hatred in you by constantly feeding you drama, gossip, and outrage. Strong men curate their environment like a throne room. Only those who bring value, truth, or challenge are allowed inside. Everyone else stays at the gate. Next, you build your inner council. Not yes men, not cheerleaders. People, alive, dead, real, or in books, whose lives embody the standards you want. Discipline, clarity, power, restraint. When you're unsure, you ask yourself, what would the strongest version of me do? What would a king do? What would a strategist do? That question alone pulls you out of emotional reaction and into deliberate action. Then you refine your rules. Untouchable men live by personal laws, not by moods. For example, I do not respond in anger. I do not explain myself to gossips. I do not chase those who withdraw. I do not abandon my mission to win temporary approval. These are not quotes to post. These are commandments to obey. Every time hatred, criticism, or disrespect comes your way, you run it through your laws. If it doesn't demand action, it gets discarded. If it does, you respond with precision, never panic. Finally, you accept a hard truth. Solitude is part of this architecture. The higher you go, the fewer people can breathe at your altitude. Many will fall away. Let them. Do not chase the ones who are allergic to your growth. You're not training to be accessible. You're training to be effective. And effectiveness requires space, quiet, and distance from the chaotic. Over time, something shifts. The same hatred that once shook you now barely registers. The names, the rumors, the judgments, they become weather, background noise. You walk through it untouched because your fortress is built right. Mind guarded, emotions disciplined, circle filtered, mission clear. That is what it means to be truly dangerous in a world addicted to reaction. You cannot be moved by every gust of emotional wind. You move only when you decide it serves your long game. Number 10, you've seen the machine now. How hatred is manufactured, how it's injected into crowds, relationships, even into your own mind. You've seen how rulers, corporations, manipulators, and insecure people all use the same formula. Wound the ego, offer a target, direct the rage. You've watched it play out in others. You've felt it burn in yourself. But here's the final turn. From this point on, you are no longer raw material for that machine. You are the one who understands it, and understanding is power. Machiavelli's hidden formula was never just about how to control others. It was also a warning for those who refuse to be controlled. A man who can see the game is harder to move. A man who accepts that hatred is part of the climb becomes immune to its sting. You're not here to be pure, soft, or endlessly forgiving. You're here to be precise, calm, dangerous in your clarity. Stoic masculinity is not emotionless, it's emotion mastered. You will still feel anger, you will still feel hatred. You just won't be owned by it. You'll convert it into discipline, into focus, into distance from the wrong people. You will let the world reveal itself through who fears you, who resents you, who quietly respects you but can't admit it. Your life becomes your test. Your discipline becomes your signal. Your boundaries become your filter. Listen closely. You do not need everyone. You need alignment with your mission. You need loyalty from a few. You need unshakable standards within yourself. The rest is noise. The moment you stop begging to be understood and start committing to being effective, you cross a line most men never reach. That's where you're standing now, on that edge. You can go back to reacting, to being baited, to letting others manufacture your hatred and steer your actions. Or you can step fully into this new frame, untouchable, not because the world is kind, but because you are prepared. If you're ready to keep walking this path, to sharpen your mind, your psychology, your power, then don't just disappear. Stay connected. Hit like so this message stays anchored in your mind. Subscribe so you don't slip back into the old version of you. Turn on notifications so every time you start to forget who you're becoming, I can remind you. You are not here to be controlled. You are here to become the one they cannot break.